Could Chris Paul be headed to the New York Knicks? Let's get into this. After a few rough seasons and a difficult situation in Houston, Chris Paul has completely come back to his former self, and he might even be playing better now than he was in the past. And we've definitely seen that in these playoffs for Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns. The Suns are in the finals for the first time in a long time, and Chris Paul is also in his first NBA finals, so they're doing great obviously at this point. I know it's not only Chris Paul, and other people on the Suns also stepped up significantly to take the Suns to the next level, but when you look at where the Suns were last season, they didn't even make the top 10. And now you look at them this season, they're in the NBA Finals right now. It's just a crazy turnaround, and Chris Paul's a huge part of it. And I know the rebuttal to that would be, a lot of people would say this year's playoffs is a lot weaker than it was in the past, just due to the fact that so many superstars around the league have been getting hurt this season. So there's teams that are in the finals or going into the finals that you wouldn't expect. When you look at the Eastern Conference, you're looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, which some people expected, but also the Atlanta Hawks, who are in a decent position as well. They could make it, and nobody expected that. There's just a ton of injuries to a lot of star players, so that shakes everything up. But either way, huge credit to the Phoenix Suns and Chris Paul for getting this far, of course. It's just crazy what Chris Paul's doing at this point of his career. I think he's actually playing a little bit better than maybe in the past even. In the past, he was always a great player. He's a great scorer. He was known for his great passing ability, of course, but this playoffs, he just looks a little different out there. His three-point shot is going in extremely efficiently this season, or this playoffs, I should say. He's shooting great from deep. He's scoring from that mid-range where he gets a lot of open, easy shots, but he's knocking all of them down. He's getting to his spots, getting where he wants, just scoring the ball at will. I think that's a little bit of a difference this season compared to in the past. Of course, he was able to score in the past, but I feel like this playoffs, he's done it to a little bit of a different level. And of course, on top of all of that, his main bread and butter is his passing ability, and we've seen it on full display. He's making crazy passes to wide open guys, behind the back, no-look passes, just crazy passes, and getting his teammates open shots and easy layups. And of course, that's a big reason why a lot of other younger players on his team are playing so much better in these playoffs than they did in the past, and really took their games to the next level. It's because they have a true point guard in Chris Paul. Whenever you're open, you know you're going to get that ball for a wide open shot. It just gives so much more confidence to everybody else. And also on top of that, it's Chris Paul. He has a lot of wisdom and knowledge to spread around these young guys, and they could really take notes from what this guy was able to do throughout his career. So having Chris Paul on the Suns team just helps him out so significantly. And I think no matter who they play, either the Milwaukee Bucks or Atlanta Hawks, I think they're definitely going to be the favorites in either matchup, and I think they're also going to have a really great shot to actually win the thing and get Chris Paul his first ever NBA championship. And he definitely does deserve it. After all those failed years with the Clippers and him or Blake Griffin just being injured in the playoffs and not being able to live up to their full potential, it's just great seeing how well Chris Paul is playing now and actually having a chance to win an NBA championship finally. But there's been a few reports floating around there that the New York Knicks could have a great chance at actually getting Chris Paul after the season is over, because he's going to be a free agent. Now, when I first heard this report, there's two questions that came to my head. First, with Chris Paul potentially winning an NBA championship, and if I had to guess, I would say he will this season with the Suns, why would he ever want to leave that, especially due to the fact that he's never won in the past? But another question I would have is, how would Chris Paul actually fit with the Knicks? So first, let's talk about the fit. So luckily for the Knicks and for any team really, Chris Paul fits well with basically every team in the NBA. He just runs the offense so well, and he gets any player on his team, he just makes them better, getting them wide open shots, wide open dunks, or whatever. But specifically on the Knicks, there's a few guys that I think he would help so significantly. First, we talk about Mitchell Robinson. He can run the pick and roll with Mitch so effectively and throw up lobs to him and get him easy layups and dunks. I think he's going to help him out tremendously. Also, another guy is Obi Toppin for the same reason, for pick and roll lobs as well. But Obi Toppin obviously has more offensive skill than Mitchell Robinson does, so I think Chris Paul can also get him the ball in better spots and really put him in position to succeed, unlike other guys that the Knicks had on the roster. They weren't really able to, besides Derrick Rose, they weren't really able to get the ball to Obi in the right spots. And I think that was a big reason why he struggled early on in his rookie season. But with Chris Paul, I think that's completely different and changes. Also, he's definitely going to help out a guy like Julius Randle, because now Julius doesn't need to handle the ball as much, and he had a little bit of a turnover issue, so that would help with that. He can also obviously get the ball to Julius in the right spots to where he can just turn and shoot and just get easier buckets that way, not have to work so hard for it. Also, it would take off a lot of pressure off Julius and not being the #1 guy with Chris Paul out there as well. Also, RJ Barrett, he would help out tremendously as well, just as as a mentor. Also for Julius, he would be a mentor, and everybody on the team. But I think especially a good guy like RJ, who could potentially be the best player in the Knicks in the future. We'll see what happens with that. But I think just as a mentor, he'd be great, and just showing him how hard he has to work. And also just on the court, he can give him the ball in the right spots and make him effective, of course, like that. Chris Paul would be an absolute perfect fit for this New York Knicks team. And we all saw what the Knicks were able to do. They finally got the right culture and head coach, good players around them, young and ascending players, and they were able to get the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference this year. So if you were to add Chris Paul to them, you would think they would be at the very least the same 4th seed but a better team. But I could even see them being even better than that and a true contender to come out of the Eastern Conference if Chris Paul is on their team. I know that might sound a little crazy, but when you've seen what Chris Paul was able to do for the Suns team and how he took them to the NBA Finals, I'm not saying I'm expecting the Knicks to go to the NBA Finals, but I could see them being a legitimate contender. But now let's get on to the question, is this realistic? Would Chris Paul actually leave the Phoenix Suns after making it to his first NBA Finals and potentially winning his first NBA championship? As a Knicks fan, I would of course love for this to happen, but I really don't think that it's that likely. I think it's one of those reports that they just throw out there to get people excited and get more clicks. I don't think there's any real validity to this. I hope there is, but I just don't personally think so. I know there's connections between Chris Paul and Leon Rose. Leon Rose used to be his agent, but I can't see Chris Paul wanting to leave the Suns, especially how much they accomplished in their first season together, by the way, with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and they actually got to the NBA Finals and are most likely going to win the NBA championship. I can't see him leaving after that. And you would think as the years go on and their chemistry gets even better, the Suns would get even better with Chris Paul and Devin Booker specifically, but the guys around them and all their chemistry would just get better over time, you would think. And even when all this NBA superstars around the league do come back, like Anthony Davis is fully healthy, LeBron's fully healthy, Giannis is fully healthy, all these guys are back, you would think that the Suns would still have a very good chance to still beat them. But we'll see what happens in the offseason. Crazier things have definitely happened in the past. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Chris Paul has a real chance at going to the New York Knicks in the offseason? Or do you think that Chris Paul is probably going to stay with the Phoenix Suns? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe and hit that post notification bell. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out, guys.